draft. Here we go. All right. We have some Skype action.
All right, looks like we have Owen's pack one, pick one. Ooh. Not a very exciting pack, to be honest.
Very weak pack, near the floor.
This is one of the worst packs I've seen in this format.
Oh yes. So
we have some like medium cards, Shimmer Scale Drake, Shepherd Monitor.
Yeah, this pack's very deep on 7th picks.
Red Cartouche, the Corey Hauler, the Vizier of the white one.
See, and again, this is a spot where it's like, you know, you could sort of justify any terrible card, but it's like, why not just take the white one and make it more likely that you end up with a white deck, even if you don't get like a good card from this pack.
Yeah, I'm not sure what I would actually first pick from this pack.
Honestly, I'm not a huge fan of ChefNet Monitor. I actually lean towards either Vizier of Cartouche or Cartouche.
Yeah, Vizier is pretty good at making sure you don't get Cartouche, that your like white deck does not get screwed by the black player just slamming a Cartouche on his big guy and just gaining a lot of life.
Yeah, great point.
It's also good at preventing, you know, your opponent's combat tricks and stuff.
Have you noticed with ChefNet Monitor, with the cycling creatures in general, but with ChefNet Monitor specifically, have you had opponents cycle those in really, really weird spots? Like I've had an opponent just no-handed cycle a ChefNet Monitor with 6 lands in play.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it happens. This is an interesting pack too. Catcher's Monument's obviously great at going wide. There's a lot of cards in this format that take advantage of that, like the Takrop Elite, or maybe the Boros Captain. I'm sure there's like another way that
there's like 6.
Yeah, the one in white pump spell that pumps
Honored Captain, Pursue Glory. There's lots of stuff. Yeah, there's 2 great green cards in this pack that are on a power level with the Catcher's Monument for sure. Like Cartouche and Exemplar of Strength are both about as good. But when you already have a white card, I don't think it's too difficult to snap up the Monument here.
Yeah, Gravedigger's also great. I like the green 2-drop a lot, because especially if you put like a blue Cartouche on it, or if you just
play a Sacred Cat first.
Yeah, or if you're just on the play, like that's just.
Yeah, it ruins people. All right, on-color pick is between Binding Mummy and Takrop Elite, or you can go off for a Cartouche.
Yeah, I like what Owen's doing. I think he's doing basically what we just described. If you have the Monument, you can go wide, and then you just need like a good way to pump all the creatures. Elite does that really well because it's a good card on its own, but it's also really good if you combine those 2 cards together. So yeah, I would certainly take the Elite over the Binding Mummy. Obviously, I like having a lot of 2-drops, but in this case, with the Monument, the Elite just makes more sense. And even if I didn't have the Monument, I think I still pick the Elite. So I agree with Owen.
Yeah, Chad is pointing out that a common was likely taken out of the last pack. Good chance it might have been something like a Gustwalker. For this pack, Binding Mummy and Elite are actually really, really close to me. But I think the Catcher's Monument pushes me over into wanting the Elite. It's just so good in both directions with it.
The packs have not been super exciting. It's not like, I mean, Owen's clearly not happy about passing 2 black Cartouches and some green good cards, but like the rest of the packs were just not very exciting. Oh, there's another Exemplar.
Interesting. Passing 2 black Cartouches while drafting a white go-wide deck is pretty scary. He's going to definitely be in the market for some compulsory rest. Also, he's probably just going to really hope his team ends up picking those up.
Yeah, he's also probably pretty happy about the Vizier. What do you pick here? This is interesting. Do you pick the Dread Wonder and go like, you know, black white zombies, or do you pick the green 2-drop, thinking that most likely the person behind you took the green cards and you were trying to screw him?
I think I lean towards the Exemplar. I think it's a stronger card. And I think that, I think it's likely enough that the guy behind me has gone green, and maybe I can shut that down. But mostly, I just think it's a little bit stronger. Here, if we had gone green, we'd be scooping up another 2-drop. As it is, it looks like we might have to angle in on the zombie strategy.
Yeah, it's also an interesting pack. You can stay black-white and take the time to reflect, which is a great removal spell if you have a lot of zombies. You can take the Emberhorn Minotaur, which is also great at just beating people down. And if he had picked the Exemplar, he would have certainly most likely take the green 2-drop, but
I think I lean Minotaur here. It's so powerful. Coming 5th, it's like this is close to being a signal. And White-Red's just a great deck if you can get it. Wow, that's a really interesting pick. I like Initia's Companion a lot, but it's not like he has like, a white cartouche yet or anything that's gonna really make it hum.
Yeah, I agree. You need to make sure your 2-drops are always dealing damage, whether it's a Gust Walker that can do it on its own, or whether you have a lot of high power 2-drops that need the white cartouche or something to make sure they keep hitting every turn, or the 3-mana 3/1 guy that gets first strike. You need to make sure the 2-drops are able to connect every turn without any like extra help.
Yeah. And he really quickly snapped off a Wasteland Scorpion there, it looked like, over. I didn't get a great look at the pack. There was at least a Sacred Cat. Suggests to me that Owen is comfortable settling into, more of a generic white-black good cards deck rather than necessarily, pushing a zombie synergy like you might expect to when you're white-black.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting draft so far. Not like one of those where you just open like a black-white rare and then you just smoothly take a bunch of black and white cards in a row. He actually has to make decisions, and it is pretty close.
Owen's weak pack coming back. Quarry Hauler, I'm pretty sure, was the best green card in it, so nothing green taken, I think.
Yeah.
And that's the way he goes.
There was a Stamina in the pack.
There was.
That's not really what he wants to take here, I don't think.
No, it's a fine card. He doesn't have anything that makes it particularly good, like that Gravedigger, for instance.
He also hasn't really seen any white cards after the first few picks. There's not been a playable white card, basically. Jewish result, okay. Yeah, all the other cards are not very exciting.
Yep. And Jajir's result, again, he's not exactly, you really like that in your exert heavy. White-black, white-green, white-red, or white-green or white-red aggro decks, really. It's a lot less good in white-black, I think. You tend to end up with not enough value from the untap.
Yeah, he just took a Manglehorn out of another pretty empty pack. I didn't really get a good look at it, but...
Yeah, it looks like we might be in for... I mean, we only open one set of packs, so it's too early to actually say. But if it keeps up at this pace, we might be in for one of those relatively low power scraping for playables, a bunch of awkward creatures slamming into each other drafts.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Owen is on the plan now that Matt behind him took the green cards and he just wants to pass cut him, but I mean, it's not like he really has anything too exciting in green going on. Painful Lesson. All right, I guess we're like... Good
sideboard card?
Yeah, like black-white mid-rangey, kind of go white deck, or
Painful Lesson, I think, is actually a really good sideboard card that doesn't get enough credit. Like, there's plenty of matchups where people just, aren't really in the business, especially post-board. They weren't really in the business of threatening your life till like game 1, and when they see what kind of matchup it is, they'll even move away from that, and a just straight-up draw 2 is, like, a dream.
I agree. Sideboarding is pretty important in this format.
Often in those matchups, it's important to make land drops, and Painful Lesson makes you make land drops. Ooh, Sacred Cat comes back for free if he wants it, but there's also a Spider Grasp.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the cat. I think I would just take the Spider Grasp, but Owen disagrees, takes the cat. Yeah, I mean, the first pack was really weird. Like, he doesn't really have anything too exciting. He has an Elite and a Monument.
No, he hasn't really passed anything, but you still can't imagine he's too happy about the position that he's in. So what did he let go? A couple of black cartouches, a green cartouche, a couple of green exemplars.
Yeah,
A
like
lot of those were in the same packs as each other, so it's not like one person has all of that.
yeah, some decent green and black cards. He passed like in blue. He only passed like a Nest and Scatter and Cancel. Nothing really.
One Emberhorn Minotaur from red, and that's it.
Yeah, but he also hasn't seen anything else in red. I think the pack where we said that a common was missing, that might have been a pack where somebody took a Magma Spray and just the person in front of him could very easily be drafting red. I think David is also a very big fan of red, and especially Magma Spray.
All right, now this pack has some stank on it. We got a Malthafi that's in color, a bunch of Great Blue.
Interesting. I mean, the mouth defeat is alright.
Yeah, I don't see how you can get around taking it here. The blue cards are just, I mean, you don't have any of that, and they're both pretty powerful, but it's not like you're gonna get both of them. If you could get both of them, you would take both of them. But since you're only getting one, here it's going to be between Edifice and another Elite. So the Elite would take him down a more focused path than what he currently seems to be managing to accomplish. So I think I would expect him to go with a more powerful Edifice.
It's a close pick.
Oh, nope. He thinks different. Certainly good if you get a lot of them. My concern is that his curve is not in a position where those elites are likely to be maximized.
I do like the elite, but I agree with you. It is a close pick. I think I also prefer the elite by a little bit, especially that he has the monument. The edifice is it's
just so strong, and he's not going to have extra removal. Like it's really nice to just be able to deal with stuff when you're a deck that can't easily.
Yeah, especially now that he passes the 2 black cartouches, it's a really good card against that. But also, green white is not an archetype that really wants to play a long game. You just want to beat people down as quickly as possible. Elite and a bunch of small creatures does that. The only problem is he doesn't really have the small creatures yet. He has the monument. He has like a sacred cat, but that's not. I'm not super excited to be playing the cat.
Yeah, I view that as a more. He took a higher risk pick to me. I think the edifice is a hedge. It'll definitely be solid, and the elite could be better if you get the good deck. If the draft goes well from here, that was a pretty weak pack, and he just took a Lord of the Accursed out of it.
Yeah, that pretty much means that the 2 people in front of him are not drafting zombies because that's one of the best cards. But it also means that he will have to drop the green. So we're kind of a little all over the place. On the other hand, it was clearly the best card. But yeah, we need some 2-drops. We need some help.
Yeah, Lord of the Accursed is a super, super annoying card. It's very hard to beat in a remotely decent deck for it. So there's something to be said for taking it off the table, but
this is a really hard draft. I don't envy his position at all.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's like one of those drafts where you have to make a choice every single pack. Do I abandon this color? Do I try this? Oh, there's this really good uncommon that puts me back in the other colors. It's not been easy.
What would you say of your own? What are you hoping to see from this point? What turns this around? Bunch of zombies, or
like a bunch of 2-drop zombies, then hoping to open a Liliana's Mastery or another Lord or something. Spearmaster is a good way to do damage. Yeah, right. It's a Grimstrider.
Yes, that continues to make me feel worse about the elite pick, but. Oh, and here's another elite to pile further on that.
Yeah. Wow, he really doesn't want to.
He's
more drops. I'm not a big fan of Grimstrider in green, in black white.
Yeah, I mean, if he had those black cartouches, he had let go. Different story, but yeah, Owen's really borrowing against the future, I would say, at this point. As far as his curve goes, he's refusing basically to sacrifice card quality to make his curve make sense. And hoping that he's able to just straighten things out as he goes. But I mean, maybe he will. But I've seen some drafts, 2 drops, everyone's scrambling for him, and they're just, after pick 3, they're just not at the table.
I think the most interesting pick of this draft, and like the decision point, was pick 3 in the first pack, where he was deciding between Wonder and Exemplar, if he goes green or if he goes black.
Agreed.
I think if he taken the Exemplar, he would have had more playables, like a better curve. But yeah, like obviously hindsight's 2020.
Right. Well, in my case, foresight, but.
Yeah, we really need some 2-drops. The only problem is that now we're gonna get back the packs we've already seen. We know there are no 2-drops except for the one Mummy, I think, which I'm pretty sure is not gonna be in the pack anymore.
Yeah, Owen's currently in a position where his deck loses to an opponent who just says the words Magma Spray. I'm not sure they even need to cast it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that, or not pretty sure. I think what happened is Owen just decided to like take the green cards a little too late, at which point Matt was already in green with a lot of the better cards that he took in the first few packs, the Exemplar or the Cartouche or like the other Exemplar, and then he just like, pack 2 obviously he's not gonna see any green from Matt on the way back.
Okay, another Sacred Cat here. Now Sacred Cat is actually, if things continue to fall right, that will count as a relevant early guy. Once you've got 3 elites, you can take and play cards like Hone Kopesh, other things that'll enhance the Sacred Cats, White Cartouche, and the combination of matching up well against like X1s and gaining some life and just being another creature to curve out with could really, like, he could use more like that, I think.
Yeah, a White Cartouche or something would certainly be a nice pickup at this point. So is the Kopesh, like you mentioned. Yeah, I agree with you. It is a way to just make something out of it. Obviously, you would still rather have a bunch of Binding Mummies or other 2-drops, but you have to work with what you got.
I think what Owen would honestly like to see opened is early on in the draft some Anointer Priests that he can pick up on the wheel.
I think there is one. There is one coming late.
Sorry, I meant in the next pack. Like, he wants them to just be open so that he can pick them up cheaply.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree that there is a chance that there's, but based on how White's been going, I don't.
Yeah, I think he still might get.
It would be a real coup if he did.
His black is also not very exciting. Like, he has a Dread Wonder and a Lord that currently pumps.
Well, those 2 black cartouches were like, a relatively high % of the card quality he passed in that first pack, I would say. So, obviously, based on the Lord of the Accursed, short the pack having been very weird and having like also Atlantis Mastery, we're assuming it's not black-white to the left, but, black-green seems very likely. Black-red certainly possible. Yeah,
like, on the other hand, he's also not really seeing anything else in any of the other colors. It's not like he's passing like, Angler Drakes left and right, or like some blue-red good cards, or like Magma Sprays, or like he just hasn't really seen like anything good in any of the colors.
Right. Of note from the pack that he opened, the Pull and the Angler Drake. Not that you wouldn't expect it, but those both got taken, pointing to 2 solidly blue decks. Most likely, although obviously it's also possible for one of those cards to have gotten taken and one of them to have gotten hated.
Well, again, this is a really tough draft.
Yeah, you were talking about passing. Oh, okay. All right, so some solid options here. Start, finish, very good. White-black card.
Yeah, so this is a pack where you have to like make a choice of what is the like most likely card to wheel. So that you're basically trying to pick up 2 cards from this pack, and you have to like make a choice and like, hey, I'm taking this, but I'm also getting this card back, so I'm gonna have to be working with these 2 cards most likely. I think the White Cartouche is pretty important, but the white and black uncommon gold card trial to start to finish is pretty great with the 3 elites. it just basically does what he's trying to do, and it's his first removal spell as well. So there's not really.
Yeah, and there's a bunch in that pack for him, and it was all the rest of it was all pretty similar. If he'll get back either Cursed Minotaur or Unwavering Initiate or whatever the other 3-drop was, and they were all like good.
Yeah, I'm taking the supply caravan in this pack.
Wow, very disappointing pack.
Wow.
Owen's gonna hate draft instead. If you're gonna hate draft, Scaled Behemoth is one of the better uncommons to hate. That's a card that really is. When the ramp decks work, Scaled Behemoth is often a big part of it because it's actually worth ramping to, which most in this format isn't, and it works with everything. And there's like a number of strategies and matchups that it beats single-handedly. Dinosaurs decks are playing against like slower controlling decks. Their options are Essence Scatter this thing or lose.
Yeah, it's true that he. Wait, are the arrows correct? Isn't he passing to Mad again?
Yeah, I think the arrows
Yeah.
should be wrong. He's passing.
Okay. Yeah, knowing that he's passing to Matt, who is most likely green, I think it's fine to hate draft the Behemoth. But on the other hand, he has 16 playables right now, and some of the cards in his deck are not very exciting. So I think I would be more concerned about having a deck with a plan. And even though the supply caravan is not the best card in the world, it does go well with what he's trying to do with the 3 elites, with the monument.
Yeah, I think this certainly points to that Owen thinks what we think, which is that Matt moved in on the green behind him as he maybe thinks he should have, and so he doesn't think maybe he's hate drafting. So he thinks I'm almost certainly taking this out of Matt's deck, and it almost certainly would be one of the best cards in Matt's deck.
Okay, fair enough.
And I'm not sure that there was, I didn't have time to get a close look, but I don't know that there was another particularly good green card in that pack. Like, he might have been taking the best card in the pack by far for Matt.
Another.
No help at all.
Yeah, I mean, he can take another 4-drop. He can take a second Druid's Resolve. The Forsaking the Worldly. Was there anything of note that he should be taking this for? Like, there was no lay claim, there was no like bounty of the luck. So
there was a lay claim. There was a lay claim, but I mean, none of his cards are good enough to be worth stealing back anyway. Like,
was there a lay claim? Was it in this?
Yeah.
Pack?
No, not in this pack. I don't think, but yes, in the third pack. So this is what we're seeing from. Okay, so we'll get a decent 3 or 5 drop out of this pack. Probably a 3 drop. Probably Unwavering Initiate. What we're seeing right now from Owen is this is one way you can end up with a real train wreck. Owen basically poor weak packs fell badly for him. Also ended up doubling down on his curve issues to keep his card quality high, hoping that he would be able to straighten it out and just seeing none of what he needs to do to solve his curve problems.
Yeah, I think he took the black card knowing that there are 3 white cards left in the pack and that he will at least get a Sacred Cat back. I'm not sure if playing 3 Sacred Cats is a great place to be at, but that's what we're working with right now. I think most of the packs were just like not great. Like it's gonna be one of those drafts where probably most of the people's decks are not super good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you about that. I don't want to overstate how badly things are going for Owen. I just also think that the way the packs were bad were particularly bad for him. Like the way it just, there just weren't like good 2s that he could justify taking or even decent ones. As soon as that became the pressing issue, it was really punishing for like these top crops elites are very mediocre. I think he really needed those to be good. Picks up a late White Cartouche share. White Cartouche was a card I know our team's very, very high on. Sam got some. I know I was rewatching our last TDSL draft. People were a little surprised as Sam was doing it how aggressive he was taking the white cartouches. Couldn't have really paid off more clearly. We do see a wheeling of one of the 3 drops, the Avon Mind Sensor from that pack that was so deep.
Yeah, I think he's pretty happy about the white cartouche. I think the Mind Sensor versus Caravan pack, I would have just taken the Caravan. I know it's a card that mostly just Shuhei likes, but I think it's really good for his deck, and the Mind Sensor is just like a 2/1 for 3. It's, it has flying, it's fine, but I think I would have just taken the Caravan and just hope to go as wide as possible. Just make a lot of tokens and make like a really good use of the elites. It's also discounted by the monument. If you're paying 4 for it, it's not actually, it doesn't even look that bad. I think it's just like a decent card for his deck. He does have the 3s. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Supply Caravan is an underrated, surprisingly decent card. As long as your opponent isn't like casting Colossipedes, especially I've in the Team Draft Super League, where you can get, even with the white decks, you can get these weird games where everybody comes out a little awkward and nobody can actually attack. And Supply Caravan can generate a ton of virtual card advantage, just neutralize a lot of the opposing creatures, make them not able to attack for a card you picked up for a song.
It's really good for a race. I've been boarding, like at the Team GP, we built a Boros deck where we played one of them, or like I put one of them in the deck because it went well with the white trial. It went well with insult to injury, just because it just created two creatures at the cost of 1, and it's also good in racing situations. And then I was just boarding in the second one in basically like every game I played. So it looks like we have 24 Plebos. 25. He has a Mighty Leap in his sideboard. He also has the Painful Lesson, which is not a card that we want to play with so many 3/10s.
Pitifulest Vizier that he had in his deck also in the category of cards we don't want to play, based on his curve situation. So pretty medium. Well, no, medium minus would be generous. Pretty poor draft, or poor deck at least. Let's say for Owen. Hard to say how it's positioned relative to the draft. What do we think about Matt's deck? There wasn't like a fortune of green after pack 1.
I think Matt's gonna be green. Green, black, green, red.
Yeah, he couldn't really have gotten any red in pack 1, but for that Immerhorn Minotaur. But I mean, we didn't see any red in pack 2 either, so he could have just been, he could have been picking it all up there and maybe some in pack 3.
I guess, was it pack 2 where there was the red green 3-drop gold uncommon? I think that was pack 2, like pretty late. So if Matt was red green, he would have probably taken that. So I think that the most sense would make for Matt to be green black.
Maybe. Although with a card like that, that's exactly the kind of card that can make a lot of sense to try to table in a spot like this, where it's not quite good enough to make sense to hate, and it's not likely there's 2 red green drafters.
That is a good point, though. I think we saw the card with not too many cards left in the pack, at which point the player wouldn't like make the whole lab back to Matt. What do you think Dave is, who was passing to Owen?
Dave's passing to Owen. Okay, so Owen could have been getting cut on white. We definitely weren't seeing, like, he never saw Dustwalker, never saw Fan Bear, never saw Compulsory Rest. We saw enough blue, I think, that I don't think that's what was going on, and the best of what we saw was green. Maybe white-red? The Immerhorn Minotaur, though.
Yeah, I think I would put Dave on red something. I think the pack where the common was missing was most likely a pack with Magma Spray. I think I would put him on blue-red spells.
Okay, blue-red spells, and then he maybe... And then he maybe second picked Pull from Eternity, which is just one of the best cards you can have in that deck.
Yeah.
Let's see, there were some Electrifies floating around. It looks like we're about to get a look at Matt Sperling's Draft Viewer or Deck Building. We're going to get a look at Sperling.
Matt Sperling is the person who was behind Owen, so Owen was passing him
Yeah, we're expecting in the green-black range here. One very interesting note, or at least very interesting to me, that I was sort of, debating whether I was going to make a point of mentioning it until I realized that my team doesn't actually play this format anymore. We'll have switched to the new set for the next time we have to play in the Team Draft Super League. So I don't need to keep anything under the hat. But for anybody that's keeping track, Black Green has an 0-10 record in the Team Draft Super League. Just been leading people straight into the Team Draft Super League has really been the story of the dominance of Jeskai, which has something like a 71% win rate if you're in the Jeskai color combinations versus like 30% if you're not.
All right, so we're looking at Matt Sperling's deck, and he is in fact green. He is trying to ramp into some of the big stuff. He does have the Sandworm Convergence. He has 2 Naga Vitalists and 2 Spring to Mind to just get up to a lot of mana. He also has a Lake Claim, which is an important card. Heaven to Earth is a pretty good one to have if you're ramping, to just make sure you can catch up to like the fast starts from the aggressive decks. He does not have a Max Spray. He does have to censor. Yeah, I think I like what Matt is going on. It's an okay deck. A lot of ramp, just enough payoff. I think the Heaven to Earth is super important to have in this deck.
Yeah, so this deck falls into the category of the archetypes I was talking about that are not Jeskai and have not been winning at all in the Team Draft Super League. Definitely not like ramp in general in these draft, like in sealed, but in the draft format, in the Team Draft format, it has not done well, and I haven't liked it. Feels like you need a lot of kind of specific roles from a lot of specific cards, and you're very draw dependent on, getting the stuff that matches up right, and the stuff that you're ramping into is like, the middle stuff isn't that great, so until you get up to like the really expensive stuff, it's not really worth ramping. I do like that he has. The Heaven Earth is a big deal. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And one actual great break for him is that this deck should have a really bad white aggro matchup, but one of the other teams, at least one of their white aggro decks just doesn't have any 2-drops, so it's not really going to be able to super effectively punish this deck's inability to interact really with anything other than the sensors.
Right. Also, like Sensor is also going to be pretty good against the deck with no 2-drops, since he can just counter his 3 or 4. I think what you said, the Heaven to Earth is like a super big deal. The fact that he has a sweeper and an 8-mana card that should just win you the game, plus you have a Lake Claim to just be able to steal your opponent's best card, whatever he has going on, is important. I'm not a big fan of these decks in general, like you said. I agree with you completely, but given what we saw in the packs, I think people's decks are not going to be super powerful, and it could just work well in this draft where other people's decks are not going to be as good. That's my feeling.
Yeah, I will say that emblematic of my problems with this archetype is sort of Spring to Mind, which is a card that I will play one of, but every time I've had more than one of that card in my deck, everything is just clunked up to infinitely and gone horribly and felt bad and died.
Yeah. Oh, he does have a Rags to Riches too.
Oh, I did not see that. He's on 1 Gift of Paradise. He also has a Cultivator for fixing, but I think Gift of Paradise has shaken out as and the Springs, of course. But I think Gift of Paradise has shaken out as kind of the key premium fixer for this deck because of the double splashing capabilities it gives you, especially with like the split cards.
Right. Also, the two Naga Vitalists do help you just get away with having one swamp in play.
Yeah. For what it's worth, I totally agree with not playing the Rags here. It would be different potentially if we didn't have the Heaven Earth, but the fact that we have that means that you probably don't need 2 sweepers in your main deck. The fact that you have 1 main and can board into 2 when they're good means you should have, a solid amount of edge in the matchups where the Rags is going to be good. All right, looks like now we're going to get the opportunity to look through David Williams' draft. Where was he sitting? Do you know, Martin? I don't pay enough attention.
David Williams was passing to Owen.
And as chat suggested, it looks like Magma Spray was the common that was picked, as opposed to a foil or David having a seizure. So what do you actually think about this pick? This is pretty interesting here because I know we talk sometimes in the Team Race Super League about the hook and cut. This seems like a situation where are you risking taking the Magma Spray here? Passing 2 great green cards and putting your teammate in green behind a green drafter. Is that a concern at all for you with a pick like this, or are there too many good cards?
I do like taking the Magma Spray or the Exemplar. I think if you take the Exemplar, Owen takes the Magma Spray, and then Matt takes the green cartouche, so you can end up having two teammates behind behind each other, basically drafting the same colors, which is also not great. But I think I would just take the Magma Spray. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I think it's the same power level as the Exemplar, but it's just so flexible. Yeah.
I think Magma Spray is the best common in the format.
Oh, looks like you're going to get paid for that read. We did not see this commit memory. This is another great card for the red blue spells deck that it's now looking pretty clear like David managed to end up.
Yeah, commit to memory is a pretty good card. Just answers pretty much everything, whether it's a card in play.
It's a great card. I think this is a borderline. I think this is still a criminally underrated card. I did a moto draft last night where I passed one 5th first pack, and then one came back the other way second pack, and then tabled. And I just don't understand it. It solves everything. It has a lot of great synergies. I know on the Team Draft Super League, I got to do some great work with it in CAFNet. It's just so flexible and good.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next pack we have
a lot weaker.
Red, but he can take the Exemplar, which we know he did not.
Right. So what did he take?
I would assume Spearmaster. Yeah, I would assume Spearmaster. Right. I know David is also a fan of aggressive decks. I could have seen David take Elite in the last pack over Commit to Memory, but I know that he thinks highly of the commit. So
I think that pick would be very wrong. Magma Spray is basically the most important card to have for red blue spells, and red blue spells is almost certainly the best deck for commit memory, which is an extremely powerful card. I think when you can run that sequence, you have to, and obviously it didn't work out with this pick as there was just nothing for that deck.
All right. Next pack, he has a Magma Spray, a Spearmaster, and a Commit to Memory, and he does not take the Minotaur. So he took, what did he take? Did he take the Shimmer Skill?
Or Servant. Yeah, he took Servant. Yeah, I would be taking Minotaur here very easily.
That's interesting. I agree. I think I would also take the Minotaur. I think they just see
This was a huge pick for setting the course. I mean, obviously he ended up white-black anyway, but if this had gone to Owen and he had, taken this and then jammed a little bit more towards zombies, he might have had more of a deck.
David could also be thinking, like, I'm taking the Servant here. Maybe there's a good chance I'm wheeling the time to reflect. So it's just a good time to go drive that, like a fourth pick, a great black-white uncommon. That's like one of the key cards to have in the black-white deck is a strong signal.
Yeah. We've definitely seen in the other drafts Wayward Servant be sort of a bellwether, sort of find their way to the zombie player, wherever the zombie player's hiding, and then they should end up with a great deck. What do we have next? Okay, he's just moving right into white, right on top of Owen.
Yeah, so it looks like my read of David and Blue was not exactly correct.
Well, and there is a Labyrinth Guardian here, so he could have, and an Essence Scatter, so he definitely had the opportunity at this point to move back into blue, and there's actually 3 solid blue cards in this pack. Is there a small chance if you take the Labyrinth Guardian here, like the Skirmisher comes back? I think there is. That would be pretty good. I don't know. Labyrinth Guardian is another really, really good card.
This is an interesting draft. People just like switching colors left and right, which forces the person behind you to do the same thing, and then just like nobody's really sure which colors is the person in front of them.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, basically what we're seeing here. So Owen's big decision was whether it seemed like whether to move to green, which it seemed like it would have worked better on if he had, and now we see why. Because Dave's big decision was whether to horn in on white or continue on the path that he was on, and he chose to just go white. And the fact that he did move and Owen didn't ended up being pretty punishing for Owen, I'm gonna guess.
Yeah, looks like David is trying to go black-white here.
Yep. Takes a zombie. Wow. Now Owen taking that close lord of the accursed is now looking like it actually really saved them some trouble.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether this was like a good read from David, just like, hey, like I'm not passing this black-white card. Like I passed, something to Owen. Like if I was David, I would think Owen would also pick the green cards.
Right.
It was a really hard draft for like everybody involved.
Scoops up a late in a catcher's name over a sacred cat. Whatever.
Yeah, nothing.
I usually like getting cats first, but and there's a sweltering suns. This pack has this draft has a lot of sweepers in it.
Interesting.
So is this the Lord we saw? Is he taking the Baleful Vomit or the Binding Mummy? He took the Lord. It was a different Lord.
Right? Yeah, he's
wow. He would have just had White Black Zombies with 2 Lords if Owen. Wow, they both really got each other, and they both made moves to get each other. Well, Owen maybe he was just taking that mostly for himself. So I don't know how much he's trying to get Dave, but boy is that how it played out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now he's just on the zombie plan.
So somebody got like a really nice pick 4, pick 5, Angler Drake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw one of those table in the Channel Fireball draft. We saw LSV was drafting blue-red, and he was the only blue drafter, and there was a Drake Haven and an Angler Drake that both tabled in the same pack.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Yeah, I think David was in a good spot to be drafting blue-red, but by him going black-white might have been just really good for his team, because this way he got to just like pass at Owen, and the way it ended up. They're both sharing the same 2 colors.
Right. So 2 picks ago, pick 3 real quick. David ended up getting the Edifice instead of the Elite that Owen took. Probably would have just had the Elite had Owen taken the Edifice. So I think Owen in his deck would rather now that he had the Edifice. I don't know how David will feel.
Yeah.
All right. Some more mummies.
Yeah.
Related insert synergies.
Yeah. If we were blue-red, we would have been able to pick the Serpent, the 6/5 guys as a finisher.
I'm not sure about this draft in particular, but those cycling lands have been going way too late in the team drafts. They're just so good. You shouldn't be they're so good, and every time you pass them, it's so likely to be usable for the person you're passing it to, your opponent, that you just I just take those so high.
Yeah, they're very good. I agree.
3-drop zombies, 3-drop zombies.
Yeah, David is kind of in the same spot as Owen. He just has a bunch of not too exciting cards. He doesn't really have a great curve.
I like taking that Embalmer's Tools over, or I think a lot of people are taking a random Mighty Leap, which doesn't actually have a lot of function the way his deck is set up, but then Embalmer's Tools could actually be a pretty good sideboard card. Oh, and he actually gets another one. If you just end up against a control-ish deck, they can't kill all your random crappy zombies, they're going to try to ignore them, but you might be able to mill them out before they can, find enough win conditions.
Yeah, I agree.
Takes the Hydra here out of a pack that has nothing for
Hydra,
him.
Yeah, taking the Hydra. This is actually pretty funny. So David takes the Hydra because he thinks Owen behind him is maybe green. Also, the deck doesn't really have anything exciting for him. Then Owen behind him hates the Skilled Behemoth.
Yeah, they really conspired to bash Sperling out of a pick or out of a great card in this pack.
Yeah, this is pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of tempted to. I'm not that scared of Iron Hydra, if we're being honest. I'm a little tempted to take Impeccable Timing there, which I think is a little underrated as a totally solid removal spell.
Yeah, and I think you were very, very right about Owen correctly hate drafting that Behemoth from Mad, because as it turned out, the Behemoth would have been really good in Mad's deck, which is trying to ramp into something big. He also has two green cartouches, and the Behemoth is a perfect target for that. So Owen hate drafting that Behemoth was really huge, I think.
Right, and that can honestly be a vulnerability to a deck like that, is if they're relying on green cartouches removal, because they don't necessarily have a lot of great cartouche targets. So you can sometimes backfoot them and keep them in a position where they can't leverage their removal.
Yeah, that is true. I guess Matt's gonna have to just target his 5/5 worms from Sandworm Convergence.
Right. Yeah, so Dave starts to fill up his curve here, which I think had Owen's also been short on 2s. Just pretty weak pack though. Very weak, really.
Watchers of that is nothing you're too excited about, but
update. Apparently, we are planning to splash Honored Hydra. I'm a little surprised.
Okay, interesting.
I don't think it's like Honored, like both Unwavering Initiate and Curse Minotaur are like really good cards. I think I'd probably be I guess he's just thinking he just doesn't need more 3-drop zombies. He does have infinite. You don't want to have all your deck be all 3-drops.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, Wing Shepherd. If his curve is fine enough that he doesn't need the... Oh, now this is an interesting pick. Soul Stinger over White Cartouche. This is very disrespectful of my cartouche, of White Cartouche for my taste. I do not... Soul Stinger's good at what it does, but White-Black is sort of naturally good at the Soul Stinger does, which is making it so you can't attack on the ground effectively. I don't think he needed more stuff like this. I would have been all over this White Cartouche.
I agree. I think David just figures that he's more like mid-rangey now, like splashing the Hydra. So he just wants like a defensive card rather than being more aggressive.
Yeah, no justice. He immediately gets a late White Cartouche anyway. Although I would have liked to have had 2.
Yeah, and impeccable timing makes sense for his slower.
He tabled that notably out of the pack that was a pack that he hate drafted out of, I think.
Right, yeah. So he did get a card out of that still.
Or I don't know what, but I would have taken the impeccable timing. He got it for free, so he's got the money. Gets your favorite supply caravan. D-drafts a giant spider rather than taking a Doom Beetle for his sideboard, maybe.
Yeah. Well, my perfect analysis of David going black, blue, red, and Matt going black, blue turned out to be 25% correct. So yeah, not a super big conversion rate. Interesting draft.
When the packs are weak, that's how it is.
I think nobody just has a really good deck. I mean, somebody who has the pool from tomorrow is just going to have a good deck just because he has one card that's so much better than everything else other people have. Yeah. It's interesting that we saw basically 3 people in a row, and like none of them has any good blue cards. Even though Sperling was blue, and we saw Owen's and David's draft, we didn't see any good blue cards being passed except for the one Anglo Drake, the one pull from tomorrow, which were in the same pack, and the one Lake Claim,
and maybe a Cryptic Serpent,
and the one Cryptic Serpent. Yeah, that's true. We also didn't see any red. Like none of them is red. We saw no red.
The reds has to be all on the other end of the table. Although Matt actually did have that Emberhorn Minotaur out of that empty pack, so he took like the one red card we did see. It's over here.
Interesting.
All right, let's pay some bills.
Looking for a challenge? Magic Online offers monthly limited and constructed events, which lead to the yearly Magic Online Championship. Download Magic Online at mtgo.com and start earning the points you need to enter. Check out Amonkhet Booster Draft Leagues on Magic Online. Draft anytime, play anytime. Available now. For more info, visit mtgo.com.
Represent your country at the World Magic Cup at national events. This September, you can compete against your country's best players for the title of national champion. You need Planeswalker points to participate, so keep playing in local events to qualify. Learn about qualifying for nationals at magic.wizards.com/national.